everybody. Welcome back to All Things Pink. I am your host, Julie Majors, and today we are going to be talking about women's health. And I absolutely love these particular components of this podcast. We have brought back today our health guru, nutrition guru, Tina Brockett, and we're going to be discussing women's health and the importance of that, and kind of just an overview of women over 40 and what we experience. So I know when you were here last time, you talked about what is integrative health. So if you could just kind of give a recap of what that means for anybody who didn't see the first one.
Yeah, so I'm the founder and owner of Encompass Integrative Wellness. And the integrative part is really about the connection between the mind and the body, because what happens in our mind if we're stressed, all sorts of things can actually affect our body overall and our health and well-being. And then I also, basically look at root causes of dysfunction in the body and figure out how to utilize food and lifestyle changes to help people feel better.
I'm sure you have a lot of clients and experience with women over 40. And you are one. So it's always relevant. I don't think we would be here, if we weren't. But what do you think, first I'm going to ask, why do you think it's important for women to be focusing on their health and their nutrition?
Oh my gosh. Well,
if you can even answer that.
I think everybody should be focused on their health, and nutrition is such an easy way. Everybody's got to eat. The alternatives in terms of what can develop from like a diagnosis perspective, why wouldn't you try and take the path of least resistance as far as things that are accessible to you to feel better?
What do you think are the kind of the top health concerns that you see from your clients coming in, or ones that are referred to you specifically for women past 40? And I know that probably varies as women get older and older. But even if you can narrow it down, what are some of the top things people refer to you for?
Absolutely. I think the biggest one is blood sugar dysregulation. So high blood sugar, higher A1C, being pre-diabetic, that type of thing, that usually goes hand in hand also with high cholesterol and hypertension. And ironically, all three of those things directly correlate to also changes in our hormones. So, you know what I mean? It kind of all goes together. Yeah. I mean, as our estrogen drops, we become less sensitive to blood sugar and less sensitive to insulin and whatnot. And people develop insulin resistance. So, it really just shifts. So estrogen plays a role in all of that. Our hormones play a role, and people don't think about that.
No.
They think about perimenopause or,
Yes, and that's like a vast land.
It's a
it's just almost what feels like never ending. So, what about, do you get a lot of, stress related or trauma related, issues when people are referred to you?
Yeah. I mean, and that is a whole, that honestly is a whole separate topic, because that can have influences on the development of other disease states. And one of the big things that I'm really heavily focused on right now is helping people reduce inflammation in their body, because it is tied to so many different areas, and the inflammatory response due to stress, due to trauma or a history of adverse childhood experiences, all weave in, and they can drive up inflammation in the body and make all those other things that we normally experience as perimenopause, menopause, etc., worse.
And the stressing, I think, is interesting. When we worked together, you had an entire class on stress and one on sleep. And I remember them very well.
Trauma. There's
Yes.
another one.
Stress. And, not to get all scientific, stress has changed, and the level of stress on women,
Yeah.
um, I feel like that is probably a really defining factor as far as, what we should be paying attention to. So there's correlations between certain factors and our health and how nutrition plays a role in that. I feel like that's one thing that we should be paying attention to. So I know this is like, you could talk for hours on this, but how does stress and nutrition just generally, I know you're laughing because it goes really, really deep. I know it does, but just if you could, in a few minutes, we obviously will go way further into this later, but kind of give an overview of what like that really means.
So people underestimate the impact that stress has on the body, on the brain, on everything, all the different chemical components of your body. And I think the easiest one that people can identify with is the item cortisol, right? So people know most people have heard about cortisol belly, stress hormone, et cetera. And cortisol plays several different functions, or a couple different things in the body. But as a stress hormone, one of the functions that cortisol does is it dumps sugar it helps your body to know that it has to bring sugar into the bloodstream so that you can either fight a threat or flee a threat, right? So if you are becoming more stressed, you might end up having higher levels of cortisol, dumps sugar into your bloodstream. Now, this is where, like, back to this whole over 40 age thing comes into play, because even actually younger, if you are having hormonal fluctuations, PMS even,
Yes,
you can become more stressed. And then that creates another scenario. Now, as you age, if you are less sensitive to insulin, you're dumping more sugar into your bloodstream, then you're not being able to pull it out into your cells as well as you should be. And you end up having higher blood sugar, or you have other, downstream effects of this. So, and honestly, also in that population, perhaps you're not sleeping as well. Well, that acts as a stressor. Or perhaps you are having bursitis in your hips and you don't want.
I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, and you don't want to exercise as much. Well, exercise actually has anti-inflammatory elements to it. But if you're not exercising and bringing that inflammation down, that in and of itself is being more inflammatory. And putting anything that is inflammatory is putting stress on your body.
Yeah.
So it's a huge element of health. And I think that people, are affected by these micro elements of stress every single day. It could be a text message on your phone or a phone call,
or not being, relieved of the 3 million text messages.
Correct.
Just constantly ringing, and it's that balance. Trying to do all of that.
You've got multiple kids, trying to get them from point A to point B, and you've got this time just right, and then you get somewhere and somebody has forgotten something.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I remember. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah,
and then balancing the job or the career, and if your partner and just everything, the house isn't clean, the laundry is like through the roof. I mean, all of it combined. I think, and nutrition in that way, changing certain aspects of your diet, it can have a profound effect on reducing that.
Absolutely. And that's where you get into sort of this mental health component of it as well, because anytime you are triggering things that are causing inflammation in your body, you can set your body up to being on the edge. Right? So everybody's heard the term hangry. Well, hangry is a nervous system essentially response to lower blood sugar and whatnot. It's a stress. Well, if you eat a particular substance, call it red dye, which, has been in the news recently, that can make people more angry, aggressive, on edge. It can drive up anxiety. So when I talk to people about, are you experiencing inflammation? I ask them to start listening to their bodies. We focus on, do you feel off? Do you feel irritable or anxious for no apparent reason? Like, what? It could be totally something with your neurobiochemistry, right? Like, I'm not saying that doesn't exist,
right.
but there are things that can affect how your brain functions. And if it's affecting how your brain functions, then you may be more predisposed to get more stressed out by something that's happening. That threshold of tolerance, if you've been eating all day and then you get hit with something, you're like,
you can't handle it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a lot of stuff that we should be paying attention to.
Correct.
And even when we're younger.
Yes.
So there's this concept that, I don't need to deal with that. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's this concept. So, what do you think about that?
So it's really kind of funny that you bring that up, because I was a few years ago in a setting. It was a business development, brainstorming, whatever type of session. And I wasn't the oldest person in the room, but I wasn't the youngest. And they asked me what I did and why it was important, yada, yada, yada. And the basic gist that I got out of that is, well, your services really are needed for people like us, meaning people that are in their 30s, that you would be better served to go find a population that is more in alignment with your age group. And I just took a step back and I'm like, okay, first of all, beginning at age 30, you lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass every decade, right? Perimenopause starts 10 years prior to menopause, which means that if you are somebody you are 50, you could be perimenopausal at 40. You could be perimenopausal at 39. If you were a person early going through menopause early. So what the stage you set in your 30s, in your 20s, sets the stage, and those behaviors set the foundation to making other elements of your life a lot easier. And, when you are dealing with a compounded issue where you've been doing something over years and years and years, I can help reverse some of it, but I can't reverse all of it.
Well, yeah.
It's compounded. So to think that you only need nutritional help later in life, I was like, I've been there. I get it. You're 30 something. Maybe you're working and developing your career and you've got kids.
Yeah.
And you're just worried about just making sure food's on the table. I get it. But please, please, please don't ignore yourself. I've been there. And my clients have been there. Like, learn from our mistakes,
Well, I think we say that a lot. Like, I feel like it's almost offensive to be like, you don't need, because I'm older, because, I don't know what I'm talking about. Actually, the older people generally know more about what they're talking about. Well, we hope so, but I think that's crazy. They talk about this with finances, right? We should be thinking about that, much younger.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference between that and your health? Your health is the most important. My dad used to tell me that all the time. If you have nothing else, you can have your health.
Well, I remember even with my husband years ago, my husband has his own company, and we provide health insurance for people as part of the company. And the health insurance rates have been increasing over 30% every single year.
They're horrible.
They're horrible, right?
Horrible.
And I remember back years ago having a discussion with our financial planner at that point in time. And the advice of the financial planner was, do whatever you can to take care of your health in the best possible way you can, because you will end up hopefully spending less in medical costs down the road.
Wow.
That was the advice given by a financial guy.
Yeah.
Even this was like maybe 10, 12 years ago, right as I was beginning to contemplate getting
That's
into
an
this.
interesting correlation
It is.
that
Because
people probably do not
no,
even think about, is that the costs for that,
yes.
or life insurance too, like all
Life
kinds of things. Like,
all sorts of
wow.
things. Life insurance, cost of your deductible, you know, you look at all of those things. And or if you end up having to be on medication, you know, the cost
Right.
out of pocket costs of the medication. I mean, you know, when we look at a
lot.
healthier population, in theory, then insurance costs should go down. But unfortunately, as a population, a lot of people have gotten less and less healthy over time. And I'm hoping that that starts to shift.
So we should be, is there some interesting facts, nutrition facts specifically for women over 40?
Lots of nutrition facts over women over 40. Gosh,
I love your facts. Like,
so many
I
to say. The biggest thing that I would say is the muscle mass, knowing that up front your muscle mass is decreasing, right? So muscle is more metabolically active than fat is. So you really need to be paying attention to how much protein you're getting. Now, this is not eat your body weight in protein or twice your body weight and all the nonsense. I get questions like, oh, I saw this on TikTok or Instagram. Is this? I'm like, if you're getting your nutritional advice solely from there, from somebody who has no credentials at all, I don't know what to tell you.
It's a whole other issue.
That's a whole other issue. But protein is really important. And it is also important as you age, not only because muscle needs protein to develop, right? So you need to be lifting weights as well and really taking care of your body that way. But it is a key component in bone health. So getting adequate amounts of protein to prevent or help kind of slow down the osteopenia or osteoporosis, which, by the way, for a lot of people that are on the GLP-1s, protein is huge because they're losing that muscle. And in addition to which, you even have young influencers coming out now and saying that they're osteopenic because their body, if you're not eating enough, it's going to take it from somewhere. So, you know, these elements that your body needs. So protein is a big one that is often overlooked, even when it comes to bone health.
Wow. It's always interesting. Just to throw this out there, just women.
Oh, I have another fun
Okay,
fact.
perfect.
Another fun fact for the younger, but also into the older, because it also holds true. If people are on some type of like oral or any type of hormonal birth control, your body actually tends to get depleted in a variety of nutrients, many of which are involved in the brain chemistry.
Wow.
And so you need to be mindful of that along the way too.
See, that's incredibly helpful. I don't think people know that.
No, and even women that are on like hormone replacement therapy need to be like conscious of that.
And it's, you know, okay, so this is actually a question that we would always get in groups and programs, and supplement versus getting your stuff from your food.
So I tend to go food first with just about everything, because you get, there are these things called phytonutrients. People think of things like antioxidants. It's basically the colors in the fruits and vegetables that you eat. They give your body extra benefits that that don't fall in the category of vitamin or a mineral, but they support your body in other ways. Your body digests and absorbs these nutrients differently. So I tend to go food first unless there is something that is known that you're taking that's depleting your body of a particular nutrient, and or we know that you are from your labs lower in that nutrient. And like vitamin D is a big one. It's really hard at this time of year to make sure that you're getting adequate because of the sun. So what can you do? Well, maybe you supplement a little bit with vitamin D at a certain time of the year, and the rest of the time of the year you don't. but you have to figure out what works for you. And I feel like, there is a time and a place for supplementation, but I also think that it is kind of a dangerous mindset to think that I have to supplement. And I've had people come into my office with bags of supplements.
Oh, yeah.
Much of it is duplication, and so-and-so told me to take this. And I'm like, well, why are you taking this?
Yeah, or like which one is good? Are these do like certain fish oils, for example, become rancid on the shelves?
Yes.
How long has it been on the shelf? Like who made this?
Who made this?
There's a million questions when I prefer just to eat it.
Yeah.
And it's just easier.
It is. And
just eat the food.
And the thing is people then can think, I'm okay, I'm supplementing, so I can go ahead and eat like crap because I'm getting my nutrients
I've heard that when people are medication too, like especially heart medication or like blood pressure meds, and they're like, I can eat the big bucket of fried chicken because I'm taking these meds, and I gasp because I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're trying to like reduce things.
I recently had somebody, and they had some cardiac issues, and they were told, the spouse of the person said, they don't have to change their diet at all. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, exactly.
But the thing of it is again, people the idea is that you want a quick fix. Everybody wants a quick fix.
Yes.
And so the idea of supplements coming in and doing whatever, immediately quick fix, it's just a dangerous concept, and especially with certain populations, if they have like substance use disorder.
Instant gratification,
or I'll just pop a pill. And the other thing that is crazy, and I hope all of your viewers take this into consideration, is that even clients of mine that are supplementing a multivitamin, for instance, 2 times a week, you can see significant shifts in their blood work such that maybe they should be only taking that multivitamin once every 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, and sometimes when you look at the labels on these things and you see it's 10,000 times what your body actually, the daily recommended values, you can end up with really high levels. And you have to ask yourself the question, is your body designed to have that high of a level going down? And when I talk about multivitamins, I'm like, if you want to take it as an insurance policy, maybe once a week, once every couple of weeks, go for it.
Just like a regular multivitamin.
Just a regular multivitamin.
That's mind blowing.
But
like, you don't take them every day.
There are people that take them every day, and some people, because they've got something going on, maybe they need to be taking them every day. Maybe their medication is depleting them. Maybe there's other things going on. But this is where really getting labs tested and seeing, I'm doing this. This is my normal. What is my normal baseline? What is that actually yielding? Do I actually need all of that? And if I don't need it, take it out. I mean, we were not designed, we were not designed necessarily to be heavily dependent on supplements. Like, I look at it from an evolutionary perspective, we're not designed that way.
Right.
So,
I mean, we're kind of designed to get that from our food.
Yes.
Or our activities, like being active and all. And in fairness, I don't think we were designed to take on this much stress either.
No, we were not. But in fairness, our food supply and the quality of some of the food, even grown naturally, is not what it used to be, from a nutrient density perspective. So yes, it's important to go food first and to really understand. And that's one of the things that I'm doing as part of my practice now with this anti-inflammatory table, is helping people understand how to take regular recipes, why I like them, because I'm never going to recommend something I don't like, and why it's important. What is this offering your body when you're taking it in? So it's high in fiber, or it's high in copper and iron, and these things work together, and this is why that's important.
I think that's a really important thing. I always like to combine stuff, and I get all excited when my meal has all these things in it.
Yeah.
So I love recipes like that, because I'm like, I'm a multitasker. So I'm like, this is perfect for me because then I can like know what I'm getting from each thing. So I think that's a good asset for people to not only know what's in it, but to be able to have recipes that you can, like a one-stop shop for dinner was perfect.
Yeah.
So
And also just learning how to take things that you normally eat and make them healthier. Like food is emotional, it's traditional, it's a lot of different things. It is multi-layered. And you need to understand how to take something and reinvent it. I did a culinary medicine certification when I was in a room with chefs. It was like 3 months long, chefs and MDs and me.
nice.
And it was like, whatever, not Chopped, but something like that. Top chef for health. Here's a condition. Devise a recipe. Make it taste good. And
Oh, that's cool.
it was very cool. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's really great. What do you think that even women younger than 40 should like a first step to like their path for better nutrition and better health?
I think the first step in any of this is figure out what works for you and also know that that's going to shift, right? So that shifts over time, but figure out what works for you. So take some time to sit with your body after you eat something. Check in with yourself, like a mindfulness body scan, or just, do I feel energized? Do I feel sleepy? Do I feel
awareness?
It's a huge awareness. How do I feel? And if you find that you feel off, think about what you've eaten and whether or not that works for you or not. I really am a huge believer in a lot of vegetables, primarily non-starchy. Like if you look at anything that I've ever done, it's like half your plate is non-starchy veg. Even in the morning, like I'm a big believer in vegetables and fruit, and then getting adequate proteins and fiber. I mean, it sounds really complicated, but if you just start to figure out how you feel after eating different things,
oh yeah,
you can start to piece together, that doesn't work for me. And that's the thing that people need to remember, right? That you and I are very different. As far as what works for me may not work for you. And then there are things that will work for both of us, right?
Exactly. And everybody's body kind of functions differently.
It's the idea of personalized nutrition. So
yeah. And I think that like just take one step. Change one thing.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is that food is largely based on behavior, right? It's like, I always get in my family, we always had meat and potatoes and we always had dessert. Well, let's figure out how to revamp that.
If I was to always eat desserts, I would be so full. I would have stomach pains. But like, even though I want it, I know that I'm like, you should not eat that right now, even if it's great.
But if that's how you were raised, or your breakfast always was cereal. Cereal is a breakfast food. You only eat certain foods for breakfast.
Right.
When I work with clients, or even when I do group activities, it's about pick one thing. Start with the one thing. And when you've mastered that one thing, add another thing, because it is behavior change. And if this is why those New Year's resolutions by I think it's like the 17th of January, everything fails, because people are like, we're going to do this. And I'm like, that's not realistic. So pick one thing, and start with that.
Yeah, that's, I think it's just also like just wrapping your head around the work that it takes. But honestly, all of that stuff takes work. Work takes work. Building a business takes work. All the things that we want. And I think we can come up with a million excuses why, I can't do this because I can't do this, for this reason or that reason. What are your top 3 reasons? I've heard, oh, it's too expensive. But what are like the top 3 things you like rebuttals? Which I call an excuse.
Yeah. So expense is a huge one. There are ways around that. As you know, like I worked with a population that was on, assistance. And I devised recipes that were $1 or, whatever.
I remember the spreadsheet.
Uh-huh.
So she'd make these incredible spreadsheets of the prices of everything at the local stores
Right.
in our area and gave them such a wonderful map. And at one point, like per day, like what were you down to? I remember you told me a long time ago, but it was like this average that you could get
Well, and
these
even
down to a very an affordable price.
it's even to put this in perspective. Now, granted, this area is a bit more expensive than other areas of the country, but my son recently was on an internship for winter work, and he for 2 months lived in a southern state, and he mapped out his groceries for him alone for 2 months. And this is with a budget of eating out one meal on a weekend while he was down out for 2 months. He ended up spending $450 for 2 months.
Wow.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
And this was recent.
He just got back last Tuesday.
If anybody's been to the grocery store lately, that's a big feat. That is huge.
And mind you, poor kid has grown up with me as a mother, where
I was just about to mention that I hear the influence in that. I do.
Let's be smart.
That's fantastic though.
Let's be strategic about and he was with other people, so they were strategic about how do they utilize leftovers,
Right.
what they bought in bulk and froze and things like that. So the idea that I can't be healthy is too expensive. Food is expensive right now. It's ridiculous. So it boils down to being strategic about what you are doing and intentional. So yes, food is expensive, but you can be strategic about it. Is it going to be perfect? No, but you can do things to eat healthier, even if it's not perfectly healthy, where you've got it, somebody making your meals beautifully for you. It can be done. The other thing that I hear is I don't have time.
It's the same one for working out, by the way.
It's the same one for working out. And I heard this recently, that it's not about that you don't have time. You're choosing not to make time. So if you want to, we always have to, shuffle that deck of cards every single day and figure out which one is going to be more important. You've got to make the time, effort, and intention. And the last thing is it's too complicated. It's too overwhelming. That's where you begin with one thing.
Exactly.
Maybe you focus first on breakfast and you get a few things in your toolkit on how you're going to navigate breakfast. And then you focus on 2 breakfasts and, you build on it. And my goal with anybody, whether they're in a group program or they're one-on-one, is to get to a point that you've got different scenarios that you can pull and play whenever you want.
Yeah.
And you're not micromanaging anything, but you have that intentionality and you get your brain that mental flexibility thinking that way.
And I think, for women over 40, as you had mentioned, I believe it was in the last episode, we need to make ourselves a priority and have those boundaries. And one of those boundaries, I feel, should be our health. How are we going to carry all these balls if we're falling apart? Like most of the time we carry the weight of our families, our children, our careers, especially when you're in a position like us where we own our own business and, we got staff or we've got, all these obligations. Health has to be, a main factor, because if we're not here, nothing's getting done. So I would say, we need to at least be focusing on it. And it is challenging. And because we carry all of those things, health, nutrition, all of those things have to be a priority. And it's not, while challenging, it's not impossible. So thank you again for being on the show today, Tina. We're really excited to have you back. And hopefully we see a lot more of you. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching All Things Pink. You can find all of our information on our website at allgreatthingsllc.life. You can listen to this on Apple and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you again, and we will see you all next time here on All Things Pink.
You gotta get out there and explore.